Welcome to Madison, Wisconsin and the Kohl Center as the 22nd ranked Badgers take on NC State. The ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by Continental. Early stages of the 2018 edition after the ACC throttled the Big Ten a year ago. Each conference with one win so far. Hi everybody, Dave Pasch alongside Robbie Hummel. Duke is coming up later, and you know what that means, great freshmen. But here tonight in Madison, we maybe have the best senior in college basketball, Robbie, and Ethan Happ.
Yeah, and I think we do have the best senior in college basketball with Ethan Happ. Also the most unique player in the country. Really gets it done within 7 feet of the basket. A guy that has every post move in the paint, having a monster All-American season, averaging 17 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. Only player in college basketball to have those numbers, and actually he's doing a little bit better, averaging 17 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 5.7 assists. So really impressive what he's been able to do and what he's been able to accomplish. And in this game, going to be a contrast in styles. NC State wants to get out. They want to push the pace. They want to play fast. They're going to pressure Wisconsin, try to turn them over. The Badgers, one of the best teams in the country at not turning the basketball over. We'll see tonight who was able to win out in those matchups.
And Wisconsin will start with possession. Demetric Trice, redshirt sophomore, is the Badger point guard.
Something to watch for early, Dave. Will NC State post-trap Ethan Happ? It's going to be something to keep an eye on. Do you let him play one-on-one and try to shut down the shooters, or do you post-trap him, let him find these guys that can make shots for the Badgers?
Great pass that time by Davison to Ethan Happ, and you know he's not going to miss.
And Brad Davison, yeah, a guy that's really finding his way in this offense. Last year was counted on to do so much with the injuries and dropping it off to the big fella for an easy one.
Here's Torin Dorn. Leading scorer for NC State at 18 points per game. Bryce in the lane. And now 3 ball by Markel Johnson, not there. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with the Wolfpack. Bryce driving on Iverson and gets it to go. Tough shot.
What a tough shot there by C.J. Bryce, and a guy that came over from UNC Wilmington with Kevin Keatts when he took this job, and such an effective player inside the painted area. Just going right over the top of the defender. Both of these teams do such a nice job of defending the perimeter, so it's going to be interesting to see if you can make some shots, soften that defense, find a way into the paint.
Here's Davison, defended by Braxton Beverly.
I like this matchup. Torin Dorn, that has been around for a long time, giving up some real serious size to Ethan Happ. Right there, playing one-on-one.
And Happ will go to the line. C.J. Bryce commits the foul, actually a side out, but Happ with the offensive rebound.
Torin Dorn leading this NC State team in scoring. Have to think guarding Happ going to be a challenge. It's different when you're guarding a guy in the post too. It's a different type of tired.
And a steal by Johnson, and he takes it in strong and throws it down on Reavers.
Well, Markel Johnson, an elite athlete for this NC State team, and that's exactly the blueprint that Kevin Keatts wants for this team. Wants to get out in transition. In the half court, they're going to play a lot of pick and roll, but they're going to try to turn you over.
Iverson puts it on the floor. And a turnover by Wisconsin.
Wisconsin had 13 turnovers in their loss against Virginia. And there you see Markel Johnson just shooting right through that passing lane and then going upstairs. Right in Nate Reavers' face. Reavers, a guy that has become a nice piece as a shot blocker for Greg Gard's team.
Jumper goes for Markel Johnson.
Interesting to see. And Kevin Keatts told us today at shoot-around, I want Markel Johnson to be more aggressive. And that's in terms of shooting the basketball. A guy that led the ACC in assists last year, really looking for a shot. off to a great start for this game.
Happ has it blocked, gets it rejected twice on that possession. Johnson from outside. And Happ with the easy rebound.
Wisconsin fortunate there. Markel Johnson shooting 56% from 3 on the season. Got a pretty good look there. And NC State's defense really locking in early.
And a foul is called here on Wyatt Walker. That's the second foul on NC State. First on Walker. He was in the cylinder of the offensive player. You like that rule?
Not really. I think it makes it so hard to press. I think it makes it really hard to post trap. So it takes some things away from teams that are trying to do that. Now I get what the rule is meant for, where you don't want defenders hanging all over these guys on the perimeter, but honestly, no, I don't love the rule.
Aleem Ford checks into the game. He's barely played this year, coming off of an injury. And he gets it down low, feeds Happ, who throws it down.
And this Wisconsin staff raved about Aleem Ford's play prior to his knee surgery. A guy that last year shot 40% from 3 and was really a great asset as a shooter, but Greg Gard said he's really expanded his game. Just got to get back in that rhythm and kind of find yourself during the season.
The Wisconsin foul on Dimitri Trice is
So the Big Ten up 2-1 after getting throttled in the ACC Big Ten Challenge a year ago. And coming up later on ESPN, you've got Duke with those great freshmen. But here in Madison at Kohl Center tonight, maybe the best senior in college basketball, Wisconsin's Ethan Happ, the only player in the country to average 17 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. But right now, the Badgers down to NC State by 4. Knocked out of bounds by Braxton Beverly. Will stay Wisconsin ball.
So far in this game, Dave, tempo has certainly favored NC State. They've been able to turn over Wisconsin. They've really frustrated them in their half-court offense. And if you're Kevin Keatts, you have to be thrilled about the way that this game has started.
Starting lineups brought to you by Geico. Trice, Davison, Khalil Iverson, Happ, and Reavers. For the Badgers, Torin Dorn, the leading scorer for NC State. Off to a good start tonight for the Wolfpack, along with Markel Johnson. And we get a foul here on Funderburk grabbing Ethan Happ. That is the 3rd team foul on NC State. So the starters for the Wolfpack becoming 6-0. Best start since 2015. Dorn, Johnson, C.J. Bryce. Of these 5 guys, 4 of them at one point played for another school. NC State built like a lot of teams these days, Robbie, with transfers and grad transfers.
There's certainly a team with that new age look where you have guys, you're not really building from freshmen on up. You're acquiring talent almost like a general manager. But credit Kevin Keatts taking the job and putting together a team even last year. Really talented NCAA tournament team, and I think they're an NCAA tournament team this year as well.
And you'd have to think Wisconsin's an NCAA tournament team as well. They missed last year, first time in 20 years, but part of that was they were down several key guys, in particular Dimitri Trice, who missed most of last year with a broken foot.
Absolutely. They are an NCAA tournament team. They played so well down at the Battle for Atlantis. And as you said, the injuries last year, you don't have Kobe King, you don't have Dimitri Trice. Just a tough season from an injury standpoint, but so much better off this year for it.
Kobe King, who was injured, as you said, a year ago, fouled. He'll shoot 2 when we come back to Madison with the Wolfpack leading by 4.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Continental Tire, for what you do, and in part by Kay Jewelers, for all the moments, for love, forever.
It's Spee Week on ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
North Carolina State with the early lead in Madison, 8-4 over the 22nd ranked Badgers. You're watching the ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by Continental. Hi everybody, I'm Dave Pash. Great to be with Robbie Hummel tonight. Robbie, we're trying to come up today with a comp for Ethan Happ, whether it's college or NBA, and there really isn't one.
Ethan Happ is Ethan Happ, and I think that's the best way to put it. A guy that's so unique, not just in the college game, but in any type of basketball setting. A guy that really gets it done in the painted area, doesn't have much of an outside shot, but so effective and off to a phenomenal start to this season. 3 times the Big Ten Player of the Week and has had a triple-double this season, 5 double-doubles. Really a great start, was tremendous in the Battle for Atlantis tournament. Just a guy that, at the end of the day, I don't care how he does it, one of the most effective players in all college basketball.
And you see off the missed free throw how quickly NC State wants to get the ball up the court. Totally different styles with these two teams tonight, as a traveling violation is called and a turnover by NC State. The Wolfpack, the only team in the country to be in the top 15 in both scoring and points allowed. Now, their schedule hasn't been great, as Bryce is able to track down the ball in the backcourt. But still, look at the numbers.
They have been so effective, and they're trying to play at such an up-tempo pace. Think about the scouting report for Greg Gard with the Virginia game. This is, throw that out the window. This is 100% polar opposite from what they did last week in the Bahamas. Have to handle NC State's pressure. Cannot let them get in transition. Have to get back. And Wisconsin's been as good as any in the country at preventing transition baskets.
Kevin Keatts last year led NC State to the tournament, had 5 wins against ranked teams. Think about it. He beat, their team did, Arizona, North Carolina, and Duke, all in the same season, en route to 21 wins and their best finish in the ACC since 2004. In his first season at the helm, and they get a steal here. Good play by Harris, and basket interference, so no bucket, but a foul is called, and it'll be free throws on the shot attempt.
Well, again, defense turning into offense for NC State. And that has been the story through the first 5 minutes of this game. NC State pressuring and Wisconsin not handling it well. See Blake Harris in there and CJ Bryce, great size, great in transition.
And 4 turnovers by Wisconsin, only 5 points. Ford committed the foul, his first, and Bryce gets the first free throw. NC State talked about how potent they are offensively. A lot of that is because they turn you over. They're number 8 in the country in turnover margin, in the top 20 in turnovers forced. As CJ Bryce, who played for Kevin Keatts at UNC Wilmington for a couple years before transferring to NC State to rejoin his former head coach, gets both free throws.
Here's Trevor Anderson. He is going to be tested tonight when he's in for the Badgers. Transfer from Wisconsin Green Bay, walked onto the team. Going to be tasked with bringing it up against some serious pressure tonight.
And a foul on Helms, trying to guard Ethan Happ away from the ball, just trying to get position on him. I mean, Happ, we know how great his footwork is when he has the ball, but how about his movement without the ball?
Gets so much done before that pass even arrives, and he plays angles. He's such an intelligent basketball player. And so many people get consumed with what he doesn't do well, but you have to remember all the things that he does do well. He's a guard at 6'10", and I have to think Jericho Helms just at his mercy there. There's nothing he can do about that. He's undersized, and Happ has got both right and left jump hooks.
And Happ has 6 of the 7 points for Wisconsin. Here's Daniels, a transfer from Utah, leaning in, can't get it to go. Rebounded by Kobe King.
This is an incredibly small lineup. You see CJ Bryce on Happ. I think you might see some post traps here as soon as Happ touches the basketball.
Happ thought he was pushed. Couldn't get the bucket. Lockett roaring into the front court. Bailed out with a foul.
Well, this is just too easy. Jericho Helms, no chance. And Ethan Happ just as good with the left as he is with the right. Ambidextrous with those jump hooks. And you said it, Dave, he is so good, not just when he has the basketball, but before, and has every post move. I mean, he's got up and unders, he's got spin moves, and he's like a quarterback. He really takes what the defense gives him, and he reacts accordingly. So many guys in college basketball, you see it, and it's a predetermined move. That's not the case with Ethan Happ.
Notre Dame won, beat Illinois tonight, so the challenge now tied at 2 games apiece. Of course, Duke is coming up over on ESPN, taking on Indiana. Michigan, North Carolina tomorrow night. And this matchup here, Wisconsin ranked 22nd, taking on an undefeated NC State team. If the Wolfpack win, it will be their best start since 2005. Here's Davison from outside, brick to three. Wisconsin is shooting lights out from three this year, over 40%. Last year, that was a problem. They weren't shooting threes as well as they're accustomed to here in Madison, and they give up a bucket in the paint there, trailing now by 5.
Devin Daniels, the transfer from Utah, this NC State staff ecstatic about his ability to score the ball. I mean, you saw what he was able to accomplish in the Pac-12, a guy that averaged just under 10 points a game, shot the ball at a pretty high clip, 40% from three.
It's nice to be able to hear somebody say Pac-12 and not Conference of Champions.
I'm sorry, I could go to the Conference of Champions, but it would make you feel more comfortable here.
You're doing great. Just you be you. 6 fouls already on NC State. We're about 5 minutes away from tip between Duke and Indiana. And obviously, Zion Williamson is getting all the headlines, and he's great, but R.J. Barrett.
Oh, R.J. Barrett is so good. And how about the fact that there could be 4 lottery picks on the floor tonight at Cameron Indoor?
Yeah.
There is so much talent in this game, but Indiana, a team that's kind of figuring out what they are. You have Juwan Morgan, a guy that's coming back, but this Duke team, man, they are built to have super success come March.
And their one loss was against a very good team in Gonzaga, which is the new #1 in college basketball. Here's Torin Dorn. Deep three from Beverly, not there, and rebounded by Dimitri Trice, the Wisconsin point guard.
Braxton Beverly has struggled the last 3 games, shooting the basketball just 23%. Kind of a quick one there. I know NC State likes to play with pace, but have to think you can get that shot at any time.
Davison, good move, and he's able to finish on the low block. Davison, who's battled shoulder injuries throughout his career and has struggled the last couple of games shooting the ball, just 2 for 12 over the last 2 games. He's a guy that can score, averaged 12 per game a year ago as a freshman. Beverly sweeping hook, no, but he was fouled on the play.
How about, we've talked so much about Ethan Happ. Let's take a look at a guard that can play in the post here. Brad Davison taking his time. Braxton Beverly undersized. Nice job of feeling the defense and going to that left hand. And you talked about Brad Davison. And yes, he has struggled shooting the basketball, trying to find his way in this offense. Last year, he was the main cog in the offense. Now you've got 3-4 guys on the floor at all times that can either shoot it or, as Ethan Happ, and can really play. So he does other things on the court, though. He's a defender. He's a leader. Really, there is more to just scoring. And so many guys in today's game in college, all they worry about is making shots. Well, he brings other things to the table.
Greg Gard was telling us today he's got a couple guys off his bench he thinks he can bring in that can carry the scoring load, which then takes some of that off of Davison. Here's Happ in transition. That's one of the things that's different this year about Wisconsin, having Happ bring up the ball a lot. That was a great pass. He has terrific court awareness, and a 3-ball makes it a 1-point game.
How about that press break right there? Ethan Happ just taking things into his own hands, finding your shooter, get him going.
Happ, maybe the size a factor there, as he got out leaped by Daniels, and Daniels with the stick back.
Devin Daniels, also a guy that struggled a little bit. High expectations in Raleigh for the transfer, but it's just a matter of time. He can score the ball, and I know he's not shooting a great percentage right now from 3, but have to think that will come.
Here comes the ball screen from Happ. Trice will use it, take a 3, and nail it. Back-to-back triples by the Badgers, and Wisconsin ties the game.
Dimitri Trice putting in work this summer in the weight room and is so confident shooting the ball at a high level. Cannot give him that type of look.
Nice job by Johnson on the other end, keeping the pressure on, attacking, and getting a bucket. Six points for Johnson. Davison goes behind the back, trying to shake the defender Daniels. Now again, Happ, they put him in a position to make the decision. Shoot or give it up. He does. And the timer at 8, they go back to Happ. The double comes, he finds the open man. Pretzel, no good on the 3.
That's a shot that Brevin Pritzel can make. He is out there to shoot the basketball. Has been a little hesitant to maybe do so. Has to understand that's what he's here for. But Wisconsin getting it going from three. How about your 6'10" center with a little press break? Find Brad Davison. And then a little half-court offense, Dimitri Trice. Welcome back, my man. Good to see you this season.
This is the Big Ten on ESPN. Big win for Penn State earlier tonight, knocking off a ranked team in Virginia Tech. And that means we are even on the tote board. Big Ten 2 wins, ACC 2 wins. And the 2018 ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by Continental. Dave Pasch thrilled to be alongside Robbie Hummel. 20th challenge, the ACC leads 12-5, and they've had 2 ties. Dominated the Big Ten a year ago. Here's a lob out of the timeout, and it will not drop. But an offensive rebound. And this time, Walker gets it to go.
How about Wyatt Walker staying with it? That's a breakdown in Wisconsin's pick-and-roll defense. Dimitri Trice falls asleep on the weak side. Have to account for the big fella, Walker, rolling right to the rim.
We were talking with some of the NC State guys earlier today at shoot-around about the uniqueness of playing in this building. Obviously, you played here as a member of the Boilermakers. Did I hear right? You were 2-1 in here?
2-1 in the Kohl Center. And we were fortunate to come in here and do that. This is a great building and a great place to play.
They've won 86% of their games in this building, and you got them twice.
We got spoiled because junior year, I think we thought we were coming in and getting another one, and did not go so well.
Over the top was Bryce, picked up his 2nd foul for NC State, and their 17th foul. So a 1-on-1 on the other end. Tomorrow, the 20th annual ACC Big Ten Challenge continues. This is an interesting game with Maryland now in the top 25, taking on 4th-ranked Virginia, which just beat Wisconsin in the Bahamas, and then North Carolina, Michigan at 9:30 on ESPN and the ESPN app.
How about Iggy Brasdakis for Michigan, the freshman leading his team in scoring. Michigan defense going to have to be up to the challenge because Cameron Johnson, Luke May, 4 guys in double figures for Carolina. Could be a fun one.
It's great to have a partner that knows the names of players on other teams and other conferences. 3-point lead for NC State.
I'm just trying to live up to Bill's reputation here, Dave. I'm trying to.
One more for Pritzel. Brevin Pritzel hits both free throws, 90% at the line on the season. 2-point game midway through the first half here in Madison. NC State 6-0. Average scoring margin, 33 points. They've been blowing teams out, but by far this is the best competition the Wolfpack has faced, as an offensive foul is called here on Daniels with the push-off. And I think there was some good acting. In fact, Brad Davison has a smile on his face.
Well, he's the king of charges, so he would know. Last season, a guy that seemed like he was taking over 1 or 2 charges a game, just understands how to get it done. And Brevin Pritzel did a nice job there of moving the feet, but I think you're right, a little bit of an acting job to really drive and sell that call home.
Nice pass by Trice to Reavers underneath, and he gets 2 to tie the game.
That's what they were missing last season, a guy to run the show, and Nate Reavers is going to be such a good player in this league. A guy that can shoot the ball from the perimeter, but also a force inside.
And a rim protector. He had 9 blocks in a game against Stanford earlier this season. Good job by Trice to get on the floor and take it away from Daniels, who lost control for a moment. That was just enough time for Trice to swing his hand in there and strip the ball.
And that's when I think you got to go back to Reavers there. We heard Greg Gard say we got to throw the ball in the post to other guys that aren't named Ethan Happ. Reavers just got himself a bucket. I'd go back to him.
Instead, a step back jumper, no good by Davison. 3 NC State players under the bucket, and Lockett gets the clear. Johnson, and another offensive foul drawn by Davison.
Well, we just talked about it. Brad Davison, to me, has to be one of the best charge takers in the country, because he does such a good job of moving his feet, squaring you up, and takes that thing right through the chest.
Guy had surgery in March. He had dislocated his shoulder 8 times. He's always on the floor, and great hustle guy. Sophomore from Maple Grove, Minnesota. I mean, would you still be diving on the floor and doing that, taking charges if you had your shoulder dislocated 8 times?
Last season it was the epitome of toughness. He was so important to this team, and a lot of guys would have packed it in. So, you know, I've had enough. This season's lost, but to him it was important to keep playing. That's the type of leader he is.
Hey, you were pretty tough though too, man. You played through a lot of injuries and overcame a lot in your career as Dorn gets to the rim and scores.
I did not have my shoulder popping out during games. So that might have been one where I'd say thanks, but no thanks. Ty Strickland better be careful here. Blake Harris is elite at jamming the basketball at the point guard position. Got to get it up the court. Important to just speed dribble right by him. Kevin Keats said he's our best on-ball defender.
And Greg Gard was telling us that they're trusting Ty Strickland more. Son of Rod Strickland. His hat misses the tip in, and that's why Strickland's out there in the first half with 7.5 minutes to go. And palming is called, so a turnover by NC State. Wolfpack leading in Madison, trying to knock off the 22nd ranked Badgers. It's V Week as we try to help raise awareness for cancer research. Greg Gard, the Wisconsin head basketball coach, has been doing that as part of his own foundation, Guarding Against Cancer, after he lost his father, Glenn, due to brain cancer in 2015. But he keeps his dad close to his heart. You see the program on the right? Coach Gard has that program and keeps it in his coat pocket every game he coaches. Join ESPN and the V Foundation in the fight against cancer. Visit v.org/donate. All donations benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research. Wisconsin has missed its last 5 shots from the floor. Trails NC State by 2. Britzel out. And now Ford drives. And kickball. Shot clock to 20. Here's Ethan Happ, who has 6 points in the ball game. Finds the open man, it's Trice, and he pays it off with a 3.
Blake Harris just undisciplined there. You're going to dig on Ethan Happ, that's fine, but you can't lose track of a guy that's shooting the 3 at a clip of 57% in the season.
Excellent defense as well by the Badgers, and a turnover by NC State.
How about this look right here from Ethan Happ? Almost like he has eyes in the back of his head, understands where the shooters are, and if you're Blake Harris, cannot lose track of Dimitri Trice.
And the first lead for Wisconsin since the Badgers scored the opening bucket of the game. Does the pace favor Wisconsin a little bit more here the last few minutes?
Well, they've done a much better job of taking care of the basketball. And if they can do that, they're going to play in the half court. Dimitri Trice starting to get going. Kind of a slow start to the game for him, but made a couple jumpers now. And him and Happ in the pick and roll, a deadly combination.
And a foul on Helms trying to defend that pass inside to Happ. It is the 10th team foul, so it'll be 2 free throws for Happ. This is an area of his game where he needs to improve. Last year he declared for the draft. He worked out for 8 teams, but didn't get the grades that he was hoping for, so he came back to try to work on his perimeter game. He's shooting under 50% at the free throw line so far.
And that would be the one glaring thing that you see in Ethan Happ's game. Just has struggled at the free throw line, and you think about for basketball at the next level, they want you to be able to spread the floor. So I'm not saying that he can't do it, but it's going to be interesting.
Good pass underneath to Walker. Great ball fake. Got Happ off his feet and puts it in.
And NC State, they're going to run a ton of pick and roll. If you're not ready to defend it, especially on the weak side, Markel Johnson, as good as any we have in the country at finding the open man.
NC State trying to speed up Wisconsin with the full court pressure, but the Badgers break it easily. And now Ford rising and hitting a 3. Suffered a leg injury at the end of October. Didn't play a ton in the Bahamas, but getting more minutes tonight. And that's the 4-3 for the Badgers.
How about Wisconsin's offense? Known for the swing, not seen it as much this season. A lot of pick and roll, a lot of motion. Greg Gard installed it to better the swing and has really gone to it a lot this season.
That says a lot, doesn't it? I mean, they've been doing that.
The swing has been
forever.
an institution here. So for them to kind of go away from it, here just a simple pick and roll action. You see Torin Dorn getting sucked in by Ethan Happ's roll. And he has to be there to defend the rim. A lean forward. You've got a guy that shot 40% from three sitting there wide open. You'll take that look all night.
It's not like they're going away completely from the swing, but just thinking about what Bo Ryan did here, all the Final Fours, and how Greg Gard taking over to change, tweak anyway what you do offensively because of the personnel you have, speaks a lot. As wow, Johnson up high at 6'1", way up there for the follow jam.
Watch your head, Markel Johnson. He is known to be a big-time athlete, but better find him. Good way to get dunked on, not checking out.
8 points now for Johnson. Averages 10 per game. Was the leader in assists in the ACC last year. Nifty move by Happ, but it just wouldn't drop for him. 5 minutes to go in a tie game here in the first half. Johnson gives it up to Dorn, wide open from the corner. And NC State with its first three-point basket of the game. Timeout, Wisconsin.
Torin Dorn shooting 50% from three. Finds himself wide open. Wisconsin defense breaking down. But how about a little showtime? Markel Johnson, look out.
Dave Pasch, Robbie Hummel, back here in Madison at the Kohl Center, where Wisconsin trails NC State by 3. Inside 5 minutes to go in the first half. Wisconsin coming off a loss to Virginia in the battle for Atlanta's title game, but beat Oklahoma and Stanford there. Also a win at Xavier this year. NC State, its closest game was against Mercer. They won that one by 4, but led by 21. But they're showing tonight that even though they haven't played the best competition so far, and the Wolfpack are again a tournament caliber team. Davison from way out, the 5th three-point basket for Wisconsin tonight.
Brad Davison has had his struggles, but tonight he has answered the call. 8 points, 2 of 3 from downtown, and a big one there to get this Kohl Center crowd back into it.
They go to Wyatt Walker on the low block, trying to bully past Reavers. Can't do it. Off the backboard, Daniels, it won't fall. And here comes Wisconsin looking to retake the advantage. Inside 4 to go in the half.
With no Ethan Happ on the floor, interesting to see. Is it Brad Davison? Is it Kobe King? Who you running your offense through?
Happ has had a couple stints on the bench here in the first half.
Has missed some shots he normally makes, Dave. And fortunately for the Badgers, some other guys have really stepped up, especially this guy.
Davison unable to bank it in the paint. Cleared by Walker, and the Wolfpack look to run. They don't.
Now get 50% off all Domino's pizzas when you order online. 50% off sausage pizzas, handmade pan pizzas, even barbecue banana pepper pizzas. If you're into that, this week only get 50% off the menu price of 34 million pizza combinations at Domino's.com.
Don't you get the best price booking at one of those travel?
NC State by 3 late in the first half in Madison. Our 30 for 30 documentary, The Last Days of Night, which premiered in April on ESPN Plus, makes its television debut Thursday at 7:30 on ESPN. A behind-the-scenes story of the investigation into why high school All-Americans were leaving Bob Knight's basketball program at Indiana and the subsequent fallout after the story broke in 2000. You can always watch it on the ESPN app as well. Of course, Coach Knight used to work here at ESPN. He told a story about having to come play in Madison at the old field house back in the day, and there were windows in the locker room, the visitors' locker room, that were broken. So it would be 15 degrees maybe at best at night sometimes, and there'd be this huge breeze going into the visitors' locker room. They could never prove it, but they always thought that those windows were broken.
The Badgers
on
wouldn't do
purpose.
that. They would never do that to you.
course, you got this nice visitors locker room that you were in several times here at the Kohl Center. But the field house was a great place to watch college basketball in the 80s and 90s. Good defense by Lockett on Iverson.
And 2 sets of eyes on Ethan Happ at all times on that possession. NC State really locking in. Torrin Dorn doing a nice job of trying to front Ethan Happ.
Here comes the screen by Happ. The roll to the bucket and good hands to break up the pass by Dorn. It will stay with the Badgers.
I think NC State has done a nice job tonight of just mixing up looks. They've really dug on Ethan Happ, and he has missed some shots that he probably normally makes, but have to give credit to NC State for some of that as well.
Wisconsin, half of its baskets have been threes. Happ got great position, and Dorn over the top thought he had a clean block. But it's a foul and 2 free throws coming up for Ethan Happ.
That's such a smart play by Ethan Happ. Realizes the weak side, nobody home. Has the mismatch, the size advantage on Torrin Dorn, and nice pass by Khalil Iverson going right over the top.
And not a bad foul. You might as well, if you don't get the block.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's worth the risk of going for the block, as Happ is now 0 for 3 at the free throw line.
Wisconsin has really settled in. First 6.5 minutes, 5 turnovers by the Badgers, and since just 1. Doing a much better job of executing their offense and breaking that press.
Happ now with 7 points, getting 1 of 2. 2 minutes to go. NC State by 2. Here's Johnson having a terrific first half for NC State. 8 points, 4 assists. Lockett falling away, it won't go. And King with the board.
What a luxury for a great guard to have a guy like Khalil Iverson, where you can switch ball screens and feel so comfortable with the big fella guarding little guards.
Pull up won't go. Happ's tip won't go either. And Dorn with a strong rebound. Johnson has Happ on him.
Surprised he didn't shoot that 3 and really broken Ethan Happ off. Had space, shooting such a good percentage from the 3-point line this season.
At 57% coming into tonight, leading the ACC. Floater off the mark by Daniels, and Happ rebounds. And again, the coaching staff has no problem with him bringing it up the floor. Happ spin dribble away from the defender, but then a turnover.
Maybe just a little bit too much right there, over dribbling. Found himself in some trouble, and eventually with a turnover.
Again, Daniels with the floater. This time it drops, and it's a 4-point lead for NC State. Inside a minute to go in the opening half.
Devin Daniels so comfortable shooting off the wrong foot. You see that floater off the right foot with the right hand. It's comfortable for him, though. It's what he likes to do. Tough shot.
He was a starter at Utah a couple years ago, transferred to NC State, had to sit out last year. Anderson can't get it, and now NC State can hold for the final shot. And Kevin Keats is going to use a timeout here. Coming up on the E-Trade halftime report, an update on a thriller between Louisville and Michigan State, also Indiana Duke, and highlights from all the college basketball games tonight. The ACC Big Ten Challenge. Be a great win for Louisville if they can knock off the Spartans, who always play a tough schedule in November, December. What does Indiana have to do to knock off Duke and the monsters they have on that team that are going to be playing in the NBA next year?
Well, Indiana cannot afford to let Duke get out in transition. We have seen it all year. When they're able to do that, run on you, bad things happen. And I think if you can keep Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, and the athletes that Duke has in the half court, you're giving yourself a chance. Also can't have turnovers for touchdowns. You cannot turn the basketball over and allow them easy ones. They're just too talented, too athletic. Have to execute, especially when that crowd gets loud. Got to move the ball.
This crowd tonight has been quieted because of NC State and the way that the Wolfpack has played and how they've shut down, for the most part, Ethan Happ, who's been held to 7 points, averaging almost 18 per game. Johnson with 2 to shoot with Happ on him. Lets it fly for 3, and it's good at the buzzer. What a half for Markel Johnson. 11 first half points, 4 assists, and the Wolfpack lead by 7. They were down 2 with 5 minutes to go, but a 13-4 close to the half by NC State. Markel Johnson,
a guy that can get it going on the offensive end, right there breaking Ethan Happ off, and right now the Wolfpack is rolling in Madison.
E-Trade halftime report coming up.
It's Fee Week on ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
NC State trying to go to 7-0 for the first time since 2005, leading number 22 Wisconsin 36-29. You're watching the ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by Continental. The ACC with Louisville knocking off Michigan State has taken a 3-2 lead on the Big Ten. I'm Dave Pasch. So glad to have Robbie Hummel sitting next to me tonight. Robbie, you have a contrast of styles. We talked about that at the outset, and I know NC State's averaging 91 points per game, so they're not on pace for that, but they're still doing what they want in terms of forcing turnovers and speeding up the game.
Well, their defense tonight has just gotten it done here in Madison. Wisconsin only 29 points, just shooting 35% from the field, and early turnovers the story in this game. They forced 6 in the first half. Wisconsin averaging just 9, so that's, you know, a number that really stands out to you. But they've swarmed the basketball, they've been active in the passing lanes, and really had an impressive start to this game.
7 turnovers forced and 7 points off those Badger turnovers. Meanwhile, offensively for NC State, they're shooting 50% from 3, almost 50% overall from the floor, and holding Wisconsin to 36%.
We talked about this early in this game. NC State looking to push tempo. They want to shoot fast, and look at the success they've had. Just like that right there, Markel Johnson has been tremendous tonight.
He's got 14 points now. That obviously came early in the shot clock. Meanwhile, Ethan Happ, preseason All-American, just 3 of 11 from the floor, held to 7 points. Just 1 of 4 at the free throw line. He did have 7 rebounds, 4 offensive boards in that first half. Wisconsin, though, missed its last 5 shots and went without a field goal over the last 4.5 minutes. And now they've missed 6 in a row, and here comes NC State, up by double figures for the first time in the game.
And NC State defense locking in. Dimitri Trice playing pick and roll, and NC State doing a nice job of contesting shots.
Davison knocks it away, but ends up in the hands of Dorn. And the pull-up jumper is good to stretch the lead to 12.
That's tough for Wisconsin because you do such a good job on the defensive end of the floor. Get a deflection and bounces right to Torin Dorn, right in his sweet spot. Loves the mid-range jumper from the elbow.
And if you're Wisconsin right now, where is the scoring going to come outside of Ethan Happ?
That's the question of the year right here. You know, you see Dimitri Trice, Brad Davison in a nice first half.
Davison way off, and the Badgers have now gone 6 minutes without a field goal, going back obviously to the first half. An 18-4 run by NC State going back to the first half. Johnson again. This time he misses. He checked.
To me right now, Wisconsin has to move the ball from side to side. So stagnant in their offense. A lot of one-on-one, a lot of ISO. And in the Bahamas, that thing was moving. You know, it was offensively putting on a clinic, and it helps when you make shots, but you also got to manufacture points. Ethan Happ not able to get it going, so going to have to come from guys like Brad Davison, Dimitri Trice. Nate Reavers has been quiet. And we see a lean forward sitting at the scorer's table. Greg Gard trying to get a little bit of a jolt in their offense from the sophomore.
Markel Johnson committed the foul, his second. It's a tough stretch for Wisconsin. You come off the Bahamas having to play Stanford, Oklahoma, and then Virginia. Virginia plays totally different, obviously, than the team they're playing tonight at NC State. And then because this year the Big Ten is playing 20 conference games. Now, they did play games pre-conference or pre-January last year, but you've got a game in November in conference at Iowa on Friday.
Who's playing great basketball right now. You have to go on the road in the Big Ten. And these 2 early games really set the tone for your conference season.
Do you like playing 20 Big Ten games? As a former Big Ten player, would you have liked to have played 20 Big Ten games?
Yes, because I think it's so much more fun to play in Big Ten venues against good teams than it is to beat bad teams by 20 at home. I like it as a fan, but I can see where the coaches are maybe not liking it so much, and we'll see, does that get Ethan Happ going? Showing you the footwork right there, up and under, and really that's been his best offensive move, I think, of the night right there. Nice little post entry pass, lean forward, get into the big fella, and you give him just an inch, go for that little head fake. He's gonna step right through there, as good as any we have in the country in terms of moving his feet offensively.
And that ends a drought of almost 7 minutes without a field goal for Wisconsin. Beverly reached in and was charged with the foul, and then Happ hits the free throw. It's a 7-point game. Happ in double figures now with 10. He averages 18 points per game. Markel Johnson shakes the defender but can't hit the three. Dorn tracks down the offensive rebound.
That's when our lean forward has to just go get that basketball. You block out, you're unaware of where the basketball is. Give NC State another possession, now they get to the line.
That's C.J. Bryce, who will shoot 2. Lean forward picking up his second foul. First on Wisconsin in the half. Bryce, a redshirt junior from Charlotte, North Carolina. Kevin Keats, before he came to NC State, he was at UNC Wilmington, and 3 years there, he led them to the NCAA tournament 2 times. And C.J. Price was one of his players. He was there for 2 years. So to be able to get Bryce to come to Raleigh, along with several grad transfers, and then also taking players like Torin Dorn, who had been in the program, it's not easy when you're basically starting over last year as a first-year guy, and then you're starting over this year because you got other grad transfers you're adding into the mix.
And you have to give him credit because he has mixed and matched. And what a luxury, though, to have a guy who averages 17 points a game at Wilmington, bring him into your new program and able to just kind of show guys what Coach Keats wants. He can set the tone in practice last year, and now obviously a very good player in his own right on the floor.
And then you have, Wyatt Walker. He was at Samford, got a medical redshirt, transferred here. Daniels was at Utah. He transferred. Beautiful footwork, and Ethan Happ in the lane gets another basket.
It's so apparent that Kevin Keats is saying, we're going to shut the water off on everybody else. Ethan Happ's playing one-on-one. And with the way he's come out in the second half, that's a dangerous proposition for NC State.
Dorn with a line drive 3. He's shooting over 50% from behind the arc on the year. And the Wolfpack, after a slow start from 3-point range, now 5 out of 10. And a foul on Walker trying to guard Ethan Happ, bringing the ball up the floor.
Ethan Happ getting going here in the second half. A slow start to the game. Just takes his time, backs Wyatt Walker down. There's a little ball fake. All of a sudden, slip right through. Nice left hand. But Torin Dorn on the other end has something to say about it. You said probably one of the flattest shots you'll see in college basketball. Line drive, but effective this season.
They got to get out on a lean forward. That's the second time he's drained a 3-pointer. And Wisconsin back within 6.
We'll see Wisconsin offensively starting to get going. Can they give their crowd a stop here, something to cheer about?
Well, Ford, who again had been injured, giving him quality minutes now on both ends of the floor. Playing the most he has this season tonight. Trice for 3.
Well, we've talked so much about NC State in transition. How about the Badgers getting it going now? Kobe King does a great job seeing Dimitri Trice and just lays it up for him. Easy shots from the 3-point line. Getting Wisconsin going.
Bryce answers, yes. C.J. Bryce is finally, the crowd was it's the loudest they'd been all night, but then Bryce puts them back in their seats. We'll see if Dimitri Trice, if that gets him going. He's had some games where he shoots lights out. 5 of 5 against Xavier, 7 of 8 against Oklahoma. Aleem Ford with his third 3-pointer. Trading threes here in Madison.
All of a sudden, these offenses waking up from the perimeter. Aleem Ford Cannot leave him, and in pick and roll, he's finding himself wide open.
Markel Johnson comes back. 4 straight threes. For a while, nobody could score, and now everybody's making threes. And then a foul is called here with a 6-point lead for NC State over Wisconsin. Early second half in Madison.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Papa John's. Double cheeseburger pizza is back. Large, just $11.
Last season, Wisconsin struggled from the three-point line. This year and tonight, not so much. 8 for 14 from the three-point line. You see it, they've done it in transition, they've done it in the half court. Aleem Ford has been such a spark off the bench for Greg Gard's offense, knocking one down there from the perimeter. And all of a sudden, this Kohl center has life, and Wisconsin's offense back on track on a night where Ethan Happ has not been at his best.
Last year struggled shooting the three, but Trice missed most of the year due to injury. This year they're in the top 25, and they've made 6 of their last 7 from three-point range. 8 of 14 overall, and out of the timeout, NC State, following the foul on Ethan Happ, gets a dunk from Funderburk.
And I love that Kevin Keach just cleared the side out, play pick and roll, no help side defense there. Wisconsin has had some issues guarding the pick and roll from the weak side in both the first and now second half tonight.
Reavers goes to the left hand and puts it in. Nate Reavers, 6'11" sophomore, has gotten a lot stronger. Gained 25 pounds. Sweeping hook won't fall from Daniels. Late whistle, and it's a foul on NC State. They get Funderburk for his 3rd personal.
He said NC State taking advantage of the pick and roll. You see the whole weak side cleared out. Nobody in. Kobe King hugging his man. Have to beat to the basketball. I know it's coming to you, but there's nobody on that weak side to help out for the roller.
Wisconsin has to use a timeout, could not get the ball in bounds. 2 timeouts remaining for the Badgers, who trail by 6. So 4 ranked teams in action tomorrow night on ESPN in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Which game's more intriguing, Robbie? Virginia, Maryland, or Carolina, Michigan?
I think Carolina, Michigan. You see the scoring offense of North Carolina going up against the defense in Michigan. And how about John Beilein? When I was playing, known as an offensive guru, and now has switched over to really a defensive mastermind in the Big Ten Conference. Should be a fun one. Elite offenses and defenses going up against each other.
Speaking of offense, think about this. Wisconsin was down 7 at the half, has made its last 6 shots from the floor, yet still trails by 6 because NC State can't miss either.
Both teams have caught fire from the three-point line, making some tough shots, and that's a tough shot there by Dimitri Trice. Not much movement on that possession for the Badgers.
Ethan Happ on the bench for Wisconsin. 6 minutes gone by in the second half. Entry pass. Helms can't get it off the front of the rim, but it's out to C.J. Bryce, and he'll reset. Bryce puts it on the deck and is fouled by Aleem Ford. 3rd team foul on Wisconsin. 3rd personal on Ford.
C.J. Bryce at 6'5", great size. Doing a nice job of grinding Aleem Ford right to the rim. Getting contact. Just taking him right to the basket.
Bryce 3 of 4 at the foul line. Just watching NC State tonight. We know Duke's going to be great in Carolina and Virginia. But NC State, they finished tied for 3rd in the ACC a year ago as Happ returns. Do you see them being able to compete with, I mean, they beat Duke and Carolina last year. Can they compete with those 2 teams and the Cavaliers?
Well, to me, I think Tier 1 is clearly Virginia, North Carolina, Duke. And Tier 2 would be, you know, it's really a question mark right now. I think NC State's in there. I think Virginia Tech is in there. Syracuse has struggled, but I think they can be a team when they get healthy that's in that 2nd tier. The conference is so deep, though. You look at who the ACC has this year. So many good teams, and the same can be said about the Big Ten. It's going to be a fun year in both conferences.
And the Big Ten last year, only 4 teams made it to the tournament, the worst in a decade. But you would think there are going to be a lot more this year because they have so much depth and they have quality at the top. Maybe not a national champion, or maybe not even a Final Four team, but still some really good teams. As Happ misses inside, Carolina State trying to stretch the lead to 10. They do as C.J. Bryce gets the layup.
DJ Funderburg really altering Ethan Happ's shot, doing a nice job of moving his feet. And now NC State's pressure forces a 5-second count.
NC State is dominating the glass, plus 11 in rebound margin, and they continue to force turnovers even with the clock, or with the ball stopped.
You see DJ Funderburg going straight up, making Ethan Happ score over the top of him, and defense turning in to NC State offense.
A 9-2 run by NC State. Daniels called for the offensive foul. That's the third charge drawn by Davison tonight.
Devin Daniels just getting a little overzealous here. Brad Davison, we've talked about it all night, as good as any in the country at drawing charges. As soon as you extend that forearm, that's an absolute charge.
Full court pressure again by NC State. Trevor Anderson bringing up the floor. We did see Ty Strickland for a brief moment in the first half. Rod Strickland's son, who Badger coaching staff is high on. We'll see if he gets a look here in the second half. Good cut. Iverson with the find in the basket for Anderson.
Those are types of defensive breakdowns. If you want to win big road games, like one at the Kohl Center, you just can't afford. You're just giving away points. Trevor Anderson wide open.
Happ got a piece of that shot by Beverly. Badgers have numbers. Beverly still trailing. Open look. And 3 for Anderson. 5 straight points for Trevor Anderson, who's a walk-on here. He was at Green Bay, transferred to Madison, walked on to the Badgers.
That's Trevor Anderson's first bucket this season outside of the paint. All layups this year comes at a huge time for the Badgers.
Again, good contest by Wisconsin on Markel Johnson in the paint. Badgers looking to push tempo here within 5. They go to Happ. The double comes. He kicks it out. Ford for 3. In and out. Rebounded by Johnson.
If you're Jericho Helms, you are extremely fortunate leaving a lean forward. He has been tremendous from 3 tonight. Obviously, Ethan Happ, the centerpiece of this offense, but Wisconsin starting to wake up here, doing some good things. You see the slipping of the screen by Trevor Anderson, finding himself wide open at the rim. And then how about we get it going from 3? Trevor Anderson making his presence felt on this game here for the Badgers.
Well, Wisconsin's back in 5, but the reason NC State is leading is because of the play of Markel Johnson offensively.
Markel Johnson has been spectacular tonight. 17 points, 7 of 12 from the field, also 5 assists. Kevin Keats was telling us at shoot around today, look, I know his assist numbers are down, but that's partly my fault, because I told this guy, we need you to be more aggressive in terms of just you doing you, shooting the basketball. Tonight, he has been phenomenal here in Madison.
And how about the balance by NC State, as the Wolfpack had to call a timeout there. 22 points in the paint for NC State, 21 points from 3. And Johnson with 3 triples. You talked about the 5 assists. He does have 3 turnovers. NC State and Wisconsin with 2 timeouts each remaining. More college basketball for you Saturday. Purdue and Michigan tip off Big Ten play at 3:30 Eastern. Then second-ranked Kansas takes on Stanford. Both games on ESPN and the ESPN app. All right, Robbie, give us the skinny on the Boilermakers this year.
Well, obviously they go as Carson Edwards goes, and I think when he plays well, Purdue is going to have themselves with a lot of success on the offensive end of the floor. Still trying to figure out who are the second and third options. Is it Ryan Klein, Nogel Eastern? Should be an interesting season in West Lafayette, where they're so used to having last year's senior class.
Pass broken up, but it ends up in the hands of Helms, and he puts it in to stretch the lead back to 7.
Braxton Beverly made a predetermined thought there on that pass. So fortunate. Should have been a steal for Wisconsin. Just leaks over to Helms for the easy bucket.
11 minutes to go here in the second half. 3-pointer from Davison, way off the mark. Still, both teams are shooting better than 50% from 3-point range. Johnson driving. Good D by Davison, forces him back to the perimeter. He says, I got it. I want to go one-on-one. And fire a three. Short, rebounded by Ford.
To me, that's a settle by Markel Johnson. I know he's made that shot tonight, but I'd like to see him attack the paint and make a play for yourself or one of your teammates.
They tried to hit Happ, and Markel Johnson got a deflection. Happ spinning, called for the offensive foul, his second.
Ethan Happ just getting a little aggressive with that off arm. I think that's a good call by Lewis Garrison. We'll see it right here. No,
I don't know about that one. It's almost like he knew it.
Yeah,
he knew it was coming, so he pulled back a little bit. I mean,
there is a little bit of a hook, but honestly,
not enough, I don't think.
I agree with. I said initially I thought it was a hook, but after seeing that replay, I would go with you.
That's 10 turnovers for Happ in the last 2 games. At 6 against Virginia, 4 tonight. But again, they have put him in more of a role where they're asking him to make more plays, and so with that, you're going to have more turnovers. Dorn, another line drive 3. This one won't fall, and Happ with the board. Ten rebounds for Happ to go with 12 points, another double-double. He's had that in every game, and the Badgers come back with a bucket and cut it to a 5-point lead. Price off the Walker screen, puts it on the floor, turnaround jumper, short, and Trice at 6 feet tall gets the rebound, pushes tempo for Wisconsin, finds the open man. King's 3 though, won't go. Davison keeps it alive. Happ. 4, a 3, and it's back to a 2-point game.
Well, as good a time as any to shoot a 3 off an offensive rebound. Ethan Happ keeping the play alive and a lean forward. Another 3-pointer for the Badgers.
Johnson misses. Bryce offensive rebound, and the putback goes. A lean forward on one end, 4 3-pointers, 4 of 7 from behind the arc. All of his attempts have been 3s. Where would they be without him tonight? He's a guy that's been banged up and just getting back to being healthy enough to play more than 5 minutes a game. Happ trying to keep alive the Trice miss, out of bounds. The Badgers will keep it.
Greg Gard talked to us today. He said, look, before Aleem Ford's injury, he was playing as well as anybody on our team. They really thought he was going to make that next step as a player. And he's showing you tonight, doing a little bit of what he did last year in terms of shooting the basketball, but he has been outstanding from the perimeter tonight.
Wisconsin missed the NCAA tournament last year for the first time in 20 years. Their first losing season since 1998. Is this a tournament team in 2018,
yes,
2019?
Absolutely. I think what they were able to do in the battle for Atlantis, and when they're making shots, this guy right here, as good as any, has not been his night. But I think, yes, this is an NCAA tournament team.
And what about NC State?
Both of these teams, yeah. I've been impressed with NC State. Some question marks coming in tonight just because of their strength of schedule, but
how about C.J. Bryce?
Really impressed by the way that their guards can score the ball. C.J. Bryce, great size. You see him getting into that painted area right there, just going right over the top of the defender.
Bryce has 12 points in the half, 16 points for the game. Back to a 6-point NC State lead, 7:45 to play. Davison pulls up, can't hit. Dorn with the rebound.
NC State fortunate. That's a miscommunicated switch right there, but you better get back.
Oh, they had a lob. Funderburk just couldn't handle the pass. Beverly still gets a basket for the Wolfpack anyway.
That's that NC State offense. We showed the graphic earlier where they're trying to shoot really in the first 10 seconds of this possession. When they've done it tonight, they have had huge amounts of success on the offensive end.
Kobe King slipped, but a foul is called on NC State. Timeout in Madison.
Alongside Coach Seth Greenberg, I'm Adnan Farouk in our college basketball studios. Look at Zion Williamson going to work, Coach.
Zion Williamson's absolutely terrific. He's got up 12 shots in the first half. He was only averaging 12 shot attempts a game prior to this game.
Duke, Indiana, big lead on ESPN. A good game on the U right now. Pitt battling with Iowa. Back to Dave Pasch.
And Robbie Hummel. Adnan, thank goodness. Look at the Duke freshman tonight. R.J. Barrett, 15-8. Zion Williamson, 19-4. And you mentioned it during the commercial. Reddish has cooled down a bit, but still a great player. They got so many weapons, and they're all young.
You very well might be looking right there at the first and second pick in next year's NBA draft, and Reddish won't be too far behind there. There's so much talent in Durham this season. A great recruiting class for Mike Krzyzewski.
NC State at the 7-minute mark with an 8-point lead over Wisconsin. Shot clock at 10. Pull-up three is good by Trice.
Demetric Trice running that two-man game with Ethan Happ. So much attention paid to Happ. Trice just coming off that screen, looking to be aggressive, shooting the three ball.
Trice is 4 for 5 tonight, 24 of 40 on the year, over 60% from three. Britzel with the box out and the save to Trice after the miss by Beverly. Britzel finds Happ, goes to the left, it drops, and a foul. 3-point opportunity for the All-American Ethan Happ.
NC State did a nice job of guarding that screen rescreen play for Brevin Britzel, but then DJ Funderburg just unable to handle Ethan Happ inside. Great post-entry pass from Brevin Britzel right to the hand, able to drop step, and so ambidextrous. Left hand, right hand does not matter. As good as any in the country finishing around the rim.
Funderburg commits the foul, his fourth. He'll leave. Walker will come back in. They've been trading, checking Ethan Happ, who misses another free throw. He's 2 for 6 tonight, under 50% on the season.
We'll see. I expect a full dose of Markel Johnson playing pick and roll sometime in the second half. NC State's best offense has been just get it on the rim and let our bigs and big guards go get the basketball.
NC State rarely takes it down to 5 before it gets off a shot, and they miss the 3 as Bryce couldn't connect, and now Wisconsin maybe can tie on this possession.
A great block out there by Brevin Britzel, securing the defensive rebound. And again, Wisconsin, not their best effort tonight, but knocking on the door. They find themselves just 3 points away from tying this game.
Trice driving, throws it up on the rim, offensive rebound, and the putback by King.
Well, Kobe King, a guy that's really coming along here, giving himself and his team a nice boost with the offensive rebound, playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Johnson, beautiful drive and finish with the offhand.
Markel Johnson has had the answer multiple times tonight, and there's the pressure just wearing Wisconsin down.
And Dorn gets it to go.
And then it seemed like Wisconsin just quit on the play. Ethan Happ, I thought, could have come in.
Yeah.
Kobe King, who allowed Torin Dorn.
They just left him. Britzel gets Dorn off his feet, and he scores on the low block. Inside 5 to go. 3-point game here in Madison.
What a bizarre last 2 possessions. NC State falling asleep now.
Johnson into the lane. Now Happ switching on him. We've seen this several times. Rarely has Johnson just taken a 3 against Happ. He gives it up that time. Dorn, another charge taken by Davison. That's the 4th time he's drawn an offensive foul on the opponent.
Brad Davison sacrificing the body again. There you see him stepping in, taking contact, and Torin Dorn runs Brad Davison over.
Doesn't matter if he dislocated his shoulder 8 times.
He wants to win,
yeah.
and that's the only thing that matters to him.
Even if it's 8 more in this game.
And that's why when he's not making shots, he does so much for your team other than just shooting. A guy that Wisconsin desperately needs on the defensive end of the floor.
King drives. Dorn cut off that lane baseline, and beautiful shot by Kobe King, the freshman from La Crosse. Missed most of last year with a knee injury, making his presence felt tonight, though. Dorn, a two-pointer. And it's back to a three-point NC State lead, and here comes the full court pressure.
Dorn answering this Kohl Center crowd, and seeing his shot in person is honestly hard to believe how often it goes in. There is no arc on that thing.
6 of 13, 2 of 3 from behind the arc tonight for Dorn. Happ got the little guy on him, and Happ scores. Back to a one-point contest.
Great recognition there by Dimitri Trice. Understood Braxton Beverly. No chance to guard Ethan Happ. And again, this Kohl Center crowd trying to get this Wisconsin defense to get a stop.
And Happ commits the foul on Walker underneath the bucket. A one-point lead for NC State over number 22, UW.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Continental Tire, for what you do, and in part by Nissan, innovation that excites.
Ethan Happ, one of the most unique players in all of college basketball, so dominant in the paint tonight, has gotten it done from there. 14 of his points inside the painted area, none from mid-range, 2 of 6 from the free throw line. Not been his best scoring night tonight, but he stayed with it, made plays for other guys, and shown why he is one of the best players in the country, even on a night where he's not his most effective.
Struggled at the line, 2 of 6, but that's been an issue obviously for Ethan Happ. 7 of 17 from the floor, but he has made his last 2 shots. He also has 4 offensive rebounds, 4 blocks, 3 assists. NC State ball in a one-point lead. Double-double for Torrin Dorn for NC State, 14 points. To go along with 11 rebounds. Shot clock at 8. Timer now at 4. Bryce into the paint over Happ. Offensive rebound by Bryce. Out to Beverly. Too strong on the 3, and Happ finally controls as Wisconsin looks for its first lead since the 5-minute mark of the opening half.
Braxton Beverly got a great look right there. Really good job by C.J. Bryce keeping that play alive. But NC State just unable to knock down the open 3.
They go to Happ. Here comes the double.
Great dig there by C.J. Bryce, making Happ give it up.
They go back to him with a shot clock at 7. Bryce reaching it again. Now Happ goes deep into the paint and scores.
You knew it was just a matter of time for Ethan Happ to get going, and they're showing the right hook. And the Kohl Center again willing its defense on here.
11 and a half, 18 in the night for Happ. Good job by Davis, and he had the bigger Walker trying to post him up on the low block. The shot clock at 2. Bryce has to let it fly, and he beats the buzzer. NC State back up 1.
Well, that is just C.J. Bryce going and making a big-time shot on a possession where nothing going right for the Wolfpack. He goes, gets to his pull-up, elevates, and knocks it down. There you see, just uses his size. Brad Davison, good defense, just better offense. And that's a guy that's played in a lot of big basketball games, played in NCAA tournaments at UNC Wilmington, making a big shot for his coach.
And tomorrow night, Robbie, more ACC Big Ten Challenge action. A matchup of ranked teams, Virginia, Maryland, followed by another matchup of ranked teams at 9:30, North Carolina, Michigan from Ann Arbor. ACC Big Ten Challenge presented by Continental. We saw an upset tonight with Penn State knocking off Virginia Tech. Also Louisville beating Michigan State. NC State trying to pull the upset tonight, although who knows if it's really an upset. NC State unbeaten, but this is the best competition the Wolfpack has faced yet this season.
Unbeaten but untested. They have handled their opposition, but really impressed with the way they've come into a hostile environment. That is the Kohl Center, and played tonight.
The one loss for Wisconsin was against Virginia in the battle for Atlanta's championship game. Bryce, by the way, with 14 points in the half, 18 for the game. NC State by 1.
How about Eric Lockett right there, just blowing up the pick and roll.
Lockett on lockdown on Davison. So Trice gets it on the rim, but it won't go. He was fouled on the play. So Dimitri Trice, an 81% free throw shooter, will have 2 foul shots. First foul on Lockett. And that's the 19th foul on NC State. Keep in mind, only 6 fouls on Wisconsin. So if there's a Badger foul that's not in the act of shooting, it'll be a 1-and-1 for NC State. And Trice misses the first. Greg Gard in his 4th year as the head coach, associate head coach under Bo Ryan, starting in 2001. 1 out of 2 for Trice. Tie game with 1:20 on the clock.
I like the sub, Khalil Iverson. Great size, very good defender. Gonna put him on C.J. Bryce, I'd assume. And clearly the biggest defensive possession of the night here for Wisconsin.
Bryce penetrates, shot won't go, but a push on Walker, so an NC State foul. Going to be free throws on the other end. That's the 10th team foul. It's Ethan Happ going to the line. He struggled tonight, just 2 of 6. He's going to get 2 free throws here as NC State is in the double bonus.
He struggled, but you still have to be more intelligent than this. You just shove him 94 feet from the rim. Now you're going to walk down the floor and give a guy 2 15-footers unguarded.
He's 11 of 22 on the year, and again 2 of 6 tonight. Calmly buries the first. He has really come on here in the second half. On both ends too.
Been very good on the defensive end of the floor, but you allow a good player to get his head up, give him free looks at the basket. I have to think a player like Happ knocks 1 and 2 down, but still is giving away points.
NC State has 1 timeout remaining. Inside a minute to go. Beverly pulls up. Can't score. Cleared by Davison. No shock that he's in the middle, making things happen on the glass. He's drawn 4 charges and gets a big defensive rebound here.
Just a winning player, a guy that you'll take on any of your teams. Does every little thing it takes to win big basketball games and has made his imprint felt on this one on both ends of the floor.
Shot clock for Wisconsin down to 5. Trice has got to hurry. Pulls up and scores. His foot on the line, a 2-pointer. It's a 3-point Badger lead. Largest lead of the night for Wisconsin, and it comes in the final 30 seconds.
Dimitri Trice having himself a great season. Just under 17 points, shooting the basketball so well. And you see the elevation on the jump stop, the ability to stop, pop. Great arc on that shot. Really breaks off Braxton Beverly, unable to get any type of contest. And that's just your redshirt sophomore point guard going and making a huge play for your team.
They didn't have him last year. Broke his foot in December, missed the rest of the season. And he gives the Badgers a 3-point lead. SportsCenter is coming up over on ESPN with SVP after Indiana Duke. Reese is going to join the show, break down the college football playoff rankings. Jay Billis will jump in, talk about Duke's season so far. SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt on ESPN and the ESPN app. All right, no timeouts left. Although actually one, I thought that NC State called a timeout, but it must have been Wisconsin that called the timeout there. So 1 left for NC State, 2 or 3 in this situation.
I'm going whatever good shot you get. It doesn't have to be a 3. If you get a good look at 2, absolutely take that. I'm putting Markel Johnson in pick and roll and letting him go and make a play. He's been NC State's best player tonight.
NC State has missed its last 5 3-pointers. Johnson, Davison, another one, that's 5! He's drawn 5 charges in 1 game.
Brad Davison is just a winner, and he's been a winner his whole basketball career. And there, just jumping Markel Johnson's route, taking it right through the chest again.
dislocated shoulder over and over and over.
Let's do
it. It doesn't matter.
Let's do a Brad Davis in charge montage here. He has done such a good job of just playing great position defense tonight. A great help side defender, also getting it done on the basketball, and none bigger than that one. Making the biggest play of the game when his team needed it the most.
A guy who last year took on a role he wasn't expecting because of the injury to Dimitri Trice, but always willing to adapt. Become a great leader.
Best for the team. Yep. And last year they needed him to be a primary ball handler, a guy that took shots at the end of the shot clock, which really wasn't his game, but it will make him a better player in the long run, having to play pick and roll so often in late shot clock situations. But man, tonight he has been phenomenal.
Well, there have been a lot of games that my dad, obviously Bob Pash, has seen here in Madison. He's been a season ticket holder for 50 years. His first game attended at the old Fieldhouse in 1953.
So do you think he used to boo me when I was playing here?
Oh, he did, and so did I. He stays calm, unlike the fire that Brad Davison just brought to his team. It's Wisconsin ball in the backcourt after the player control foul. And that's unofficial. The 5 charges taken by Davis in the night. With Happ inbounding, obviously that's who NC State wants to foul, but they can't. And so they have to foul Trice, who did miss a free throw earlier, but he's still an 80% free throw shooter this season.
He has made big shots down the stretch. Did a nice job there coming back to the basketball. I think they were trying to get Brad Davis in the ball. NC State did a nice job covering him up. And Dimitri Trice realized that, came right back to Ethan Happ.
NC State out of timeouts. This to make it a 4-point game. One more crack at it, though. Again, SportsCenter is up next. Some great college basketball tonight. Big win for Penn State over Virginia Tech, and Michigan State going down against Louisville. Gets the second one. 4-point game. Still plenty of time for NC State even without a timeout. Johnson going for the 2. Gets it off the window. Will they have Happ inbound? They will.
Love that Markel Johnson went right to the rim. Don't need a 3.
And they do have a timeout. Wisconsin does. So Happ uses it. Both teams now out of stoppages. 2-point game. 11.6 on the clock.
Happ actually had Khalil Iverson deep on that play. I don't think he ever saw him. With NC State in a mad scramble to get guys covered near the baseline, leave him wide open.
All right, Dave Pash again. So glad to have Robbie Hummel alongside tonight. Robbie, let's talk here. What if you're Craig Gard, do you have again Ethan Happ inbound the ball? Absolutely. Because it takes the bad free throw shooter out of the mix, unless they obviously throw it back.
I think so, and we've seen Dimitri Trice have some struggles. Obviously, you need him to come get the basketball, but if I'm Wisconsin, I'm drawing something up for Brad Davis to come and get it. He's shooting 86% of the season. Okay. He's made huge plays throughout tonight. I'm putting the ball in his hands to let him make a play for my team.
You having fun hanging out with this Pac-12 crew?
Yeah, I love it. I wish I get to work with you guys more, but you guys get to work with the legendary Bill Walton.
Speaking of Bill, even though Bill isn't here, he loves Wisconsin basketball. But since he's not here, guess what? It's Dave's world. There's no Bill's world, Walton's world tonight. This is, oh my goodness. I need
Look at the little Dave Pash there. Star Wars, Brewers fan. Love it. Wisconsin born and bred.
And then we won the 1990 Wisconsin State Golf Championship, Madison Memorial High School.
What'd you shoot?
Not well. It was a team victory, Robbie.
Sorry to bring that up then.
I know Pops is anxious here with the ball being inbounded in the backcourt. 11.6 on the clock. Wisconsin up 2.
If you're NC State, give this thing a trap. Obviously, you want the steal. I'd trap here and doing a nice job not fouling, but you're kind of running out of time. There's the foul.
Here's one of the things, because of that now, you've taken 3 seconds off the clock, and look, 8 seconds is enough to get 1 possession. But if you had the rule where, now there's not a timeout where you could advance the ball, you'd probably save timeouts like they have in the NBA that allows for more end-of-game possessions.
Right.
Leads to more exciting basketball. I'm surprised they haven't gone to that rule yet in college basketball.
I think it would add excitement to the game. You have to assume it's just more of a tradition thing. It's just been one of those deals where, hey, college basketball has always had to go the length of the floor, whether you call timeout or not, and we're staying with it. But I agree, it's fun to watch these coaches draw up these ATO plays where you can really have it as a strength as a coach, where it's like, hey, I'm going to draw up something that's going to get my team a shot every time down the floor.
Not sure what they're looking at right now. Clear who was being fouled. It was Davison. Maybe a clock issue to just make sure that it was 8 seconds remaining on the clock. That must have been what it was. It was a very quick review. So 8 seconds to go, and Brad Davison, 87% free throw shooter on the season, will shoot 2. Gets the first one. 3-point game. Iverson checks back in again. We saw this earlier.
Yeah, good substitution again. Very good defender. Saw him guard Ty Jerome in the Bahamas and did a good job on him. For his size, really moves his feet. And if you're NC State, make or miss. To me, you still don't have to get a 3 if you can get down the court quickly. But any time wasted, you're going to have to get a bucket quick.
Johnson for 3. Good defense by Iverson, and that's going to do it. Wisconsin comes from down double figures back to beat NC State to improve to 6-1 and hand the Wolfpack its first loss of the season.
Well, on a night where Ethan Happ didn't have his best stuff, you see Demetric Trice, Brad Davison, Aleem Ford step up to the plate. And really a team win for the Badgers. Greg Gard, a lot to like about his team, getting a big win for the Big Ten in the ACC Big Ten Challenge.
So both conferences with 3 wins, a 14-point swing in the final 12 minutes as the Badgers beat NC State. For Robbie Hummel, I'm Dave Pash. So long for Madison. Off we go to SportsCenter.